Wes Sargent. Let's take a look at some of the things we've been doing at Moonbase Alpha. You can see a digital overlay of Moonbase Alpha. A technique that I would use to reconstruct a model that was already done was to take whatever photographic reference I could find and collect all that and cross-reference and apply my digital blueprint over top and just make sure that everything matched up as well as possible. It's not an easy thing to go and recreate something that's so detailed as Alpha. A model that was done in the 70s. It's much easier to create something from scratch. So a lot of time and effort went into just purely research. In order to get the interior set of main mission Commander Koenig's office just right, you can see here that we had to do a overlay with a digital blueprint just to make sure that everything was in place, all the windows and panels and everything was where it was supposed to be, and cross-reference these with other photographs. One careful thing to note is that it was very important to remove any lens distortion, which is inherent in most cameras and certainly would not give you a proper fit. Once we had main mission Commander Koenig's office built in blueprint form, the issue became where do we place it within the tower. It seemed to me that we had three possible locations, the north, south, or west or port side of the tower. And we had discussed possibly locating it well within the tower itself so that we would not see it protruding out at all. There's reasons why I thought that maybe this might not be a good idea. One, that when you're inside the balcony looking out through the windows, even though we did devise a way to actually be able to see up into space with the ceiling panels retracting, it still would not leave unrestricted viewing from the side, so you would see the interior of the tower. So instead, the set was moved higher to be a little bit more consistent with probably where it would have been in the original, and also give unrestricted viewing access out the big bay windows that were on the balcony. There were three different, at least that we can count, three different versions of main mission. One version we saw in Garden of Puri, which was a smaller kind of tower, and another we saw in other episodes like Last Sunset, which was a larger tower, and it had more windows and had more detail. And then the third version that we saw was a version that was included on the big tabletop version that they built of the entire Moonbase. So one of the challenges in this project was to be able to reconcile the various scales that were all different, and trying to bring those into harmony so that if we did a shot where we flew into Alpha from the distance, we could come right close to a window and everything would be living in the same world. So we had to do certain things like readjust the size of the windows, which are much smaller than what we saw in the larger scale models of main mission, but they're consistent with the rest of the Alpha base. You'll notice as well that we've had to taper the windows and set them in on a slant, which is consistent with how the original set was. And if you're inside main mission or Commander Koenig's office, you can tell that the exterior windows have that slanted back look. In the original series, we did not see the top of the main mission tower that closely. I think the best view of it might have been from the episode Alpha Child. Now we can see visible the balcony windows that were a very integral part of the interior set, and they've been placed carefully so as not to be too obvious and distracting if we were to see Alpha from various different angles, but still able to accommodate the real-world scale of the main mission set. Should we ever need to get close to the top in any particular shot, we will of course have to add more detail to make the roof hold up. But this is an attempt to be very faithful to what the original model was and the original series, and also be able to solve some of the inconsistencies that they did not have a chance to properly deal with in the original. This is our digital Moonbase Alpha. You'll notice that it's very highly detailed. The objective was to create a version that looked very similar to what the original did, as well as hold up to close-up shots of any particular building. The advantage of this particular alpha is that, unlike in the original series where they had to rely on matte paintings and other scaled models, we can do everything all with one model, move the camera wherever we need to, have an eagle on the launch pad, see it lift off. We can do everything all in a self-contained scene. This gives us enormous freedom when creating shots. Here's a view of the eagle and launch pad in OpenGL. You can see the launch pad differs somewhat from what it looks like in other shots from the show, but in this particular recreation, the sides of the launch pad were vertical, straight up and down, something that we didn't usually see, but was necessary in order to recreate this shot. The eagle was a labor of love. It was created some time ago, before there was much reference. There was not accurate blueprints or a great number of photographs at the time. So it was one of the first of its kind, I guess, to hopefully get as close as possible to what the eagle looked like. There is certainly still room for some modifications, but I think it serves as a good digital actor for our beloved spaceship.